Armory disc golfers. Welcome back to another video. Discmania is dropping not one, but two fan favorites in new plastics this week. So we're gonna check them out. We're gonna give one away. Let's get into it. Fade on over there. Man, get out of the sky. That thing wants to glide. So today we've got two new S Line offerings from Discmania, two of their most popular molds, the MD3 and the P2. I made sure to grab them both in orange so they fly right. Oh, that's stable. Yeah, that's a stable boy, but still push pretty good. So you can probably see, and you can definitely hear, I'm sure, that it's pretty windy outside today. This is with a significant tailwind, and so that might have contributed to the stability of the disc. I know that P2s are typically pretty stable throwers, but I thought that maybe the S Line would be a straighter counterpart to the C lines that they've come out with, Sky Gods, things like that. So I'm interested to see how that shakes up as we continue to throw them. That was a pretty wimpy go. My camera just fell down, so I hope that it's okay. No! I have grown wiser and moved it to a different spot. And now we're gonna make this putt. Get in, that feels good. The S Line MD3 has flight numbers of 5501. S Line P2's got flight numbers of 2301. And just off the bat, I think that both of these fly a little more stable than that, but that's really not a bad thing. We'll talk about that more. This hole is 365 feet. It's downhill, so I'm not gonna get there with a putter or even a mid-range. But you know, with this tailwind and downhill, I'm still not gonna get there. But this is gonna get to show you what they look like on a pretty full flight, flat, maybe a touch of Anheuser out of the hand. Got that one nice and flat, coasting, coasting, coasting. Not a ton of fade. 5501 seems pretty accurate, especially given the fact that we do have a substantial headwind. And by headwind, I mean tailwind here. All right, my early review of the P2 is that it doesn't feel like it wants to fly very far, which can be a good thing. And I really don't like the way those things feel power grip. They're super deep. If you're a fan gripper, you probably won't have any issue with it. But for me, power gripping those, which is what I prefer to do, doesn't feel great. Not all throwing putters are created equal, and that's why you're watching this video, to see how this one flies. And I think that P2s fall in that category of throwing putters that don't want to push and glide super far. And that can be extremely useful because a lot of times you want a disc to fly out and then sit down right next to the basket and not just keep coasting and gliding and going, because it's much easier to range in with this sort of disc. So if you want a disc that you can just throw a quarter mile with a putter off the tee, maybe this one isn't it. I'll give you some recommendations here. This one though, I think can be very good for actually putting it close to the basket. Not super worried about that thing drifting too far. I mean, I'm throwing it down too, but that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about. Yo, wait a second, I'm huge. I did not expect this to go this far. Granted, again, it does have a little bit of a downhill slope and there is a tailwind, but that's a pretty good push for a mid-range for me. The glide on this, I noticed this on the first hole, and again now, the glide on this is looking warshipy. I think now is a good time to address two things. One, I'm not gonna forehand either of these because people don't really forehand these discs. Second, I said I'd be giving one of these away, so whichever one of these is CTP, we'll give away. Just wanna throw this down, let it hit early, and then slide up, obviously. Don't want to hit a guardian tree. This is a little too much disc for this, but again, throwing it into the ground early and letting it slide up, looks like someone's gonna be going home with an MD3. Tell you what though, if I make this putt, I'll give them both away. Oh, well, drat, wouldn't you know? I really did try for you guys. While we're walking and talking to the next hole, if you like these jerseys, these have just come out. These are a collaboration series, tour series stuff for Tanner McCartney, who is a touring pro that we sponsor. If you somehow don't know who Tanner is, you will soon, because the dude has been killing it lately. These are 90% polyester, 10% spandex. They're super stretchy. They feel really cool. Like when I put the shirt on, it feels cool on my body, which I really like because it's 136 degrees outside right now. So it keeps me cool. This is a medium. They run pretty big. I normally am between medium and large, and this is bigger than some of the larges that I have. Just order a size down if you're in between sizes. Nice and stretchy and loose. They look freaking cool, and you'll throw better in them, guaranteed. So what I was saying about the MD3 stability, 5501 might be accurate. Maybe it's 5502, maybe it's like a 5602. But I think that manufacturers all want to have this 55-11 or 5500 sort of disc, have your buzz slot, because that's proven to be so good and so effective for so many years. And I think that having a disc like the MD3 or the Innova J or Prodigy's new Archive, for example, where it's like a 5402 sort of slot, it's boring numbers. It doesn't have a super exciting flight to it most of the time. But when it comes down to actually scoring on a golf course, being able to throw a line that you know is going to go straight with just a slight amount of fade at the end, not too understable, not too overstable, forgiving on the angle, and something that you can repeat the same lines over and over with, a disc like this is great. Here we've got 247 feet. The play is probably just to throw straight at it, but I want y'all to see how these fly on Anheuser, and I don't want my camera to fall again. So I'm going to release it on just a touch of Anheuser and see if I can drag him through this left side gap, put it under the basket. You can see it comes out on Anheuser. It's got a bit of a tailwind, and we clipped a little bit of a tree there, but it wants to hold it. Does have some fight out of it at the end though. Tell you what, for a putter, that P2 is still stable. I mean, I know that C Line P2s are known to be stable. For some reason, I thought the S Line would be less so. That's a pretty stable guy. I want to talk to y'all a little bit about how these feel. I'll put up some images. The MD3 is not a flat-topped mid-range, but it's not domey either. It has a little bit more shoulder to it than something like a Hex, which is what I'm used to, which is known for being very flat, and a little more dome than something like a Rock 3, which is the other mid-range that I throw. So you can see my bias there. The P2 is very deep. Also biased, I prefer shallower putters. That's one of the reasons I throw a mint bullet in my throwing putter slot. But this one is very deep, beadless. Like I said, I don't like the way it feels power grip, but if you're a fan grip guy, I could see this being a nice feeling putter. It has like a full meaty grip, and it doesn't want to go very far. And so it feels beefy, similar to how it flies, which I like when a disc matches up with how it feels in your hand with how it flies in the air, because it seems like it helps me connect what this disc is about to do whenever I let go of it. We finally flipped from tailwind. Now we're throwing into a bit of a headwind. It's not as big as it was before. So I'm gonna throw it straight at the basket and see how it holds up. And by straight at the basket, I mean off to the right of the basket. And I feel like I threw that disc too hard, but because the P2 does have a lower glide, it didn't feel very punishing. Like the disc just went more or less where I was trying to get it to go, even though I missed by powering up a little bit too much. That is just nice and gentle, swooping in there. Ooh, standard, good looking flight, which is what I was talking about. I know what that disc is going to do. I'm very confident in it doing that over and over. And so maybe that's the selling point for both of these discs, which are 5 feet away from each other, is that they produce consistent and repeatable lines, even if you're off by your angle by a couple degrees or on your power by a couple degrees, for the MD3 and P2 respectively. Stay up. Oh, I like that putt. Stay up. Oh, well, both of them. I just barely squeaked over. I bet they both went in, so that's all that matters. These bad boys drop on Wednesday, August 16th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're interested in either one of those, it's a simultaneous drop, so you can head on over to armorydiscgolf.com and check them out. We have a whole list of Discmania available, as well as several of these already posted. You can't buy them yet, but you can look at them, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday. All right, second to last hole. I realize I haven't said how to take this guy home. So what we'll do is just like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what disc you would compare this to that you currently bag or that you're looking to bag, and we'll pick a random winner here in the next few days. We've got 235 feet to the basket here, so the golf play is to throw something into the ground and have it slide up to the basket. But what I'm gonna do is try to challenge the ceiling and hopefully put one in. Well, the ceiling was challenged, and the ceiling won. Aha! Or did it? Oh, break over a little bit. I didn't trust the stability on that. Needed a little bit more Anheuser. I like the effort on it though. We can't have a overview video without talking about the plastic. S Line plastic is okay. It's premium plastic. It's not my favorite on the market. There's no real knock against it. I mean, it's not super slick. It's not super grippy. It's not super hard. It's not super soft. It's nothing to write home about. I don't have complaints about it. But again, that's kind of what these two discs are. It's consistent and it's good and it's solid. And if you need something over and over and over again, S Line P2, S Line MD3 might be the route to go. Our final hole right in front of us. I'm gonna try to punch this through that little window into the basket. I keep saying that because I really want to ace. Well, it's gonna be hard to ace if I keep throwing it that low. Jump! I think it's a good shot though. Now this one is gonna be tricky because these really want to fall out of the air. So if I want to get it in the basket, I'm gonna really have to push that ceiling again. Well, the ceiling is pushed. Shut up, plane. Man, I felt like that was a pretty good effort at it. Just the bottom dropped out of it. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear that plane on camera. There's an airport right here. Those things are so stinking loud. I feel like that was a good example of how the P2 flies. It went straight to its target, it's fading reliably, and then it just plops out of the air, which again is great. It's just not one of those mega distance throwing putters, unless you're someone like Simon. But if you're someone like Simon, everything is a mega distance thrower. All right, it'd be nice to finish this off with a couple birdies. I like that. All right, so will the P2 and the MD3 make my bag? No, they won't. I mean, the MD3 I'm giving away, so it doesn't really have an option. The P2 just doesn't really fit my style. If I were a fan grip putter thrower, then I think I would really, really enjoy this disc. But because my preference is to power grip things, this just doesn't fit my hand very well, so it's not getting the nod from me. The MD3, similar sort of story to it. I just slightly prefer the flat feel of a hex in my hand. It's something that these discs are doing wrong in particular, especially with their flight, which I like both of them a pretty good deal. And I could actually see this one at some point sneaking into my bag for those little putter upshot approaches, because that's a weak part of my game. And a large reason that it is a weak part is because mentally I'm scared of overthrowing the basket. I don't really have that fear with this disc. So I'm glad I pulled one in orange, because everyone knows. As far as flight numbers for these two guys, I think that I would say the MD3 5501, that's okay. I think that's solid. That can be good. 5502, 5602. I wouldn't be mad if they put any of those on this one, because I think this sucker can really fly, especially for a mid. For the P2, I know that this is just boring standard putter numbers, but I think 2302 is really where this one is at. And really, if you wanted to get technical with it, I think you could say 2202 or 2201, something like that for this one. But like we've seen a couple times, it will coast out there if you give it some pop, and especially if you're throwing it into a tailwind, as most putters will. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did get to this point in the video, please leave me a like. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. Subscribe so that I can see y'all in future content, and I'll catch you in the next one.